Hi everyone, I have got something very exciting to show you. This is a, I guess, late Christmas gift that has arrived recently, and well, this morning I've just unpacked it and I thought I would show it you. It's quite hard to see on camera what it is, but this is actually a wooden box of pencils and I will reveal them to you in a moment. Inside the box I also got this and this. Now this is a Tagal pencil sharpener. I've never tried one, so it looks like you can choose different lengths of lead or sharpnesses. I'm not really sure. I will play with that with a old pencil or a graphite pencil or something to see what these numbers mean. I'm sure people know, but I will play with it and see how it all works. And it looks like it collects the pencil shavings. So that came in the box, as well as this. This will give you a clue as to what is in here. My hands are over the top of the sticker. So this is called Melts, and it is Holbein coloured pencil blender. So it is a blending solution specifically designed for Holbein pencils. It does warn on the label that it can make it soak through the paper, the colour, and I have found this with other blending solutions as well. I've got some Zest-It and blending pens, the Derwent ones, and sometimes, particularly with Prismacolors, it can take the colour through, so you do have to be careful, but that's something that I can play with. Use a paintbrush, just dip it in, as far as I can tell from the picture. So Holbein Artist coloured pencil. So this is a shiny wooden box. I haven't got my light on because it's really shiny. You can already see some reflection on it. And I will tip it slightly so you can see. These are the hinges for the top, and then there's some draw knobs here. It's very difficult. It's reflecting the light. I'm not sure when I open it. It opens, as my son noticed when I was trying to get in, like a suitcase. So a briefcase, so you pull the clips to the side and then lift the lid. Now, oh, you can see, good. I wasn't sure how well it would work. You've got a bit of a shadow. I don't think I can make it any better. But I'll show you what's inside. So, had this leaflet about the Holbeins. It's actually got swatches. It tells you what sets the different colours come in, which is quite useful, actually. Very useful, to be honest, because although this is a full set of the 150, sometimes if you want to replace a few, you know, if a few are running out, buying them open stock can be a little bit more expensive than buying them as a set. And so if you find that ones you use regularly are all in one set, then it might be cheaper to buy them as a set. I have found that to be the case in the past. It's also got all the names and things like that. And it's got the Japanese, sorry, you can't really see. Let me hold it a little bit closer. I might put my light on now, actually. I don't know if that's it's gonna make it easier for me to see anyway. So there are all the colours, but we're going to play with them in a minute. And we have a swatch chart. This is what we're going to play with. I'm going to swatch them. It's really interesting textured paper, this swatch chart. But we'll have a go with that. But I will show you the pencils to start with. Now I have got a few of these already, so I know a little bit about how they are. If we look at this one, this is the first one in the box, and it just says the Holbein Artist Colour Pencils Japan, and then on the back it's got a little bit more Holbein Works Limited. It's got the colour and the number. I don't know how well you can see because it's in gold and my lamp's on. It can be a little bit difficult to see. They're fairly thick pencils and reasonably thick cores as well. Not stupidly thick, but quite good, I think, with regards to breakage. Quite thick core. And just having a quick look at the colours we've got. These are what I will call a sort of traditional type colours. We've got sort of yellow, orange, reds down through to pinks and purples, blues, greens there. Now these are all actually inside a plastic tray within the box. I'm just going to lift that out. I'm just interested to see how shiny the wood is. Very red. It's very pretty. So that is the top layer. Then we have a drawer underneath which opens out. You won't be able to see all of this like that. I'm going to push it back as far as I can, and then you should be able to see it. So the drawer comes with this protective You have to pull the drawer out fully to get the pencils out, and it just comes right out like that. And in fact, I could pop it on there so you can see them. Hang on. Let's just put that on there. There we go. We'll rest it on there and bring it back down. Now, whoops, you've got some of my very favourite, these are sort of more bluey greens, but here we go into some really pretty olives, really lovely, and then some sort of orangey browns, but a nice darker browns as well. We've got greys. Interesting thing that caught my attention when I was just having a quick look through was that we have a black and a lamp black, so I'll be interested to see the difference. And we have what this pencil here is, difficult to get out, is different to all the rest. Look at the base. It hasn't got the paint across the base of it, which is quite interesting. And it's called, whoops, that one's white, and this one's called soft white. I don't know if you can see that, and it says use knife to sharpen, so it must be the softest. It must just crumble in a sharpener. Now I don't know if I trust myself to sharpen with a knife, but we'll see how that goes. And we've got a few metallics here. This one's rather pretty, isn't it? So we've got what looks like, let's have a look, actually the names are on here. Copper, gold, pale gold, bronze, antique silver and silver, but we will look at them. Well, I'm going to, as I say, fill in the swatch chart. The only problem I have, the swatch chart is off-white, so that might not be a completely true representation. Let's put those back in there. We actually do want that to be kept on there for this layer. This is the pastel layer. Now a lot of people do just buy the 50 pastel set, and I don't know exactly which ones come in this. There are 50 per section, but we've got these neons here. I assume they don't come in the pastel set, but I don't actually know. Now, having a quick glance at these, I was, having used my Macaron, Brutfuna Macaron pencils this morning, I was like, these look like they are almost the same. Looking at the names, down here we've got Celadon, Mint Green, Willow Green. They're all the same names. Smoke Blue, Sea Fog. Some of them, the names are the same. And I was like, how similar are they? So I will be having a look into that at some point and seeing whether the Brutfunas are, they look really similar, don't they? They're sort of barrel type and everything else. So I'm wondering how close they are. Now, just talk about where, I'm going to just put these to the side while I talk. These are available in a few different places. Now, I have heard that some people find they're cheapest to buy from Amazon Japan. I don't know about, I haven't looked. We're going to move the box out of shot because I'm going to do the swatching as I talk. I have to move it to the side of my desk. There we go. So here is the sheet. So I'm just going to work through. I'm going to come in, whoops, a lot closer. I've actually moved my camera up to get everything in shot, so I won't be as close as normal. But maybe we want a whole row in shot anyway, like that. So this is the lemon. Just so you know what I'm doing. I'm going to fill in the whole square. I think what I'm going to do is probably make it darker on the edge and then sort of see if I can fade it off a bit so that I can see how easy it is to just fade it and what sort of different. When I tend to make swatch charts for you guys, I tend to block it in really dark so that you can actually see what the intense colour looks like. But for this one, I think, as I say, I'm going to fade it a little bit just so I can see how it all works out. So if you're in the UK, you have to be a little bit careful when you're buying from Amazon because you might find there are import duties to pay. Now, I got stung with this when I bought my small 12 set of pastel pencils of the Holbeins, and I didn't know. So it's always best to try and check and then you'll know. But in the UK you can also buy them from Jackson's Art, and you can buy the open stock from there as well, and you know there'll be no, this is dandelion, there'll be no duty on that because it's coming from the UK. So if you want, but I don't know how the prices compare, to be honest. Oh, it's a bit messy. And also delivery as well, I'm not sure. You might be able to get to a Jackson's. There aren't many though. Someone did say they thought they had one near to them, but as far as I'm aware, in the UK, this is called Sunflower. There is, as far as I'm aware in the UK, there's a couple in London and one in Gloucester, which is in Gloucestershire. So there are 3, and I know that some of them you can go in as well as being sort of wholesale places where they dispatch goods by post, which I think is their main way. They also, this is marigold. They also you can go into the shop yourself. You can click and collect, I think. I did have a look on their website recently and I found the click and collect really confusing. But you can go in, as I say, and purchase things, so that then you don't have to pay postage. But obviously if you have to travel too far, it's not worth it, and I would never want to just go to London to visit one shop. Especially, I mean, I don't know exactly whether they're in the centre or the outskirts. I have no idea. This is tangerine. So yes, so that's a little bit about Jackson's. Now I am an affiliate for Jackson's and Amazon, so yes, I just need to have that disclaimer really, but I will put links to them. Now this is the wooden box set, as you could see, so it is more expensive because of the cost of the box compared to their normal box, which is cardboard. So I have been very fortunate and very spoiled, and Claire has been amazing, and thank you. But you know, if your budget doesn't stretch, I mean, you might struggle to stretch to even a small tin because they are quite expensive. But I have said in the past that I thought they were about £4 per pencil, but actually now I did check that and I'm very wrong. Jackson's is selling the single pencils for £2.50 a pencil. Now that's still a lot of money. That's more than a Polychromos or a Prisma. This is Tiger Lily, but it's not as expensive as I thought. So I would always advise anybody to get a few open stock to try before going for a big set like this. 150 pencils is a lot to buy if you decide that actually, you know, I don't think they're worth it, or you know, they're not as nice as I expected. This is called Vermilion, or you know, I have my own favourite set and these don't feel the same. You know, it is also, it's worth warning you, of course, that for people who are new and haven't got many sets, that when you buy a new set there is a learning curve. I made a big mistake when I first started colouring, where I thought that I could just buy an expensive set of pencils, this is Scarlet, and I would automatically be really good. So I looked at, it was Emily Illustrator, I think, was using Polychromos and Prismacolor, and I couldn't get Prismacolor. They're very hard to get in the UK, really, really difficult to get. But there were people using Polychromos who were really amazingly good, and I was like, right, if I have those, I'll just be brilliant. No. This is called Signal Red, and we're on our next line. Yes, it's not. You have to learn how to use them. So, you know, you've got your set that's your favourite, you've been using it for a long time, but the method you use for that set might not necessarily apply to your new set. So it's worth noting that, because it can feel like, oh, I've just got to wipe my nose. It can feel like you think, oh, I thought I was going to be excellent. I'm not. It takes time to learn, just to get used to them, work out techniques, how they blend. This is called carmine. You know, also some pencils work better on certain papers than others. So you've got that whole thing going on, you know. This paper is very weird. I'm not used to colouring on textured paper. This is, what's it called? Madder. Oh, Madder Red. Madder. Yes, of course. So I have to say that I bought a set of Prismacolor. I sort of gave in and thought, oh, look at Chris Cheng, look at Emily Illustrator, look at Colour with Claire. If I get Prismacolors, you know, everything will be so easy and good. This is Carnation. And I found them really, really hard. I had a few, and I've been using them for Chris Cheng videos. Partly I'd been partly using polychromos, partly using, I had the greens, things like that, but they were so difficult to use. It took me 2 or 3 years before I felt like strawberry, what a nice colour, before I felt like I could confidently use them. You know, they were so different. Now these are interesting because they're sort of a mixture between polys and prismas with regards to the hardness. You know, they're not, having used them before, it's hard to, as I say, it's really hard to tell on this particular paper. This is rose, but they're quite soft, but not as soft as a Prisma. But that means you can get a sharper point and do some more detailing that you can't do necessarily so easily crimson with Prismas. I think some people do, but I find it difficult to sharpen it to a fine enough point, and even if you do, it doesn't hold its point for long. And because Prismas are so expensive here, you get a bit like, oh, this looks like a sort of browny red. Interesting colour. This is wine red. So far, my opinion on the colours. We've got a nice range of yellows, which are quite similar to what you might get in other sets, but I'm quite interested by these oranges. They're quite bright and more neon-y. I'm thinking about polychromos, for example. They're a bit more like the orange glaze rather than a cadmium orange. Although you've got this vermilion that's a bit darker, you could sort of mix them up a bit to get, you know, something a little bit less. They're very bright. Which is interesting. Now we've got a Bordeaux red. The reds, we've got a nice selection here because we've got quite a nice 3 that are really quite normal, if you know what I mean. There are some sets of pencils where you don't really have a nice mid pure red, if for want of a better description. Staedtlers used to be very much lacking. They would either have a pinky red or an orangey red, and sometimes Castles are missing good reds, so that's nice. Here is a magenta. So we're now moving more into pinks. Definitely this looks like processed red, doesn't it? I would say. But yeah, it's very, I can't really comment on how the pencils are going down. They're very cold. They've been in a van. This is, oh, what's this? Azalea. They were so cold. The box was absolutely freezing. I've got my gloves on, as you can see. It's cold today, and I was quite amazed by their journey coming from Japan. They came via Hong Kong, Turkey, Istanbul. Amethyst. This is interesting. Amethysts are usually a blue-violet colour. This is not. And then they went to France, and then they went to Belgium before they came across to England, and they ended up in Dart Dartmouth, I can't remember, burgundy. So it was quite interesting before they went to Swindon and then made their way here today. But they didn't take very long. I was quite amazed. I mean, I don't know what Claire paid for delivery, but they took less time to get here from Japan than it takes for me to get a letter to America. Raisin. Ooh, that's dark, isn't it? Darks are so useful. I've just been using a pastel set, and I had to go and get a dark pencil from a different set to get some shadow in there. You'll see the video on Monday. This is Iris. Now I think what I'm going to do in a bit is swatch these without, not on video, because it's going to take far too long to do them all one at a time, and I'm going to run out of things to say. This is grape. So once I've sort of finished waffling, that looks like a blue to me. Looks almost like an indigo. As I say, this paper's cream. I often find that I get an idea of what pencils look like, and then once I start using them, and then I might combine certain ones together and things like that, and you get a different idea. This is Violet, of what they're like once you've used them a little bit. I find it takes me, usually I have to have used average size, this is huge, an average size set of pencils, say 50 pencils, about 10 times before I really sort of get to know the colours and the pansy and how well they go down on paper, different papers and things like that. Whereas this set is going to take me a bit longer. But I do know a few of them because I've got a few. As I said, I've got 12 of the pastel tone set and a few others. No, not this one. This is indigo. I've got a navy, I think. We might. Oh, there it is. But yeah, I thought I would share these with you and you'd be excited for me. And I'm very grateful and excited. I'm trying to stay calm. And this is Prussian blue. I probably won't use them massively in videos because I know that not many of you is necessarily going to have them. So I'm not sure whether that's very fair. I will try and do some comparison charts and things like that for you so that you've got some information. So, you know, you might think, well, I've got all those colours, or, you know, that one is really nice, what's equivalent to it type thing. You know, this is navy blue, so I'm going very wonky. Yeah, I've got this one because I didn't have any other colour like it. And but looking at it now, I think I do. But when I bought it, I thought I haven't got anything that's navy. But of course, because pencil names are so inconsistent, then you don't really know what the colour is. This looks like ultramarine, ultra blue it's called. Well, that's a nice shade. It's got quite a bit of purple in it, more so than ultramarines normally do. That's lovely. Sort of cornflower blue type shade. Right, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to swatch. I could film myself and do a speed up thing, but I don't think people really like that. But what I'm going to do is finish swatching and then come back to you and talk about the colours, show you them all swatched, talk about them a bit more as well. And I probably will put together cobalt blue a swatch chart, but whether I feel like doing it today after swatching them all on this chart, I'm not sure, but maybe I should have made one. It doesn't matter. Sometimes companies have swatch charts on their own website that are already ready, so you know, rather than one of mine. So that is something worth knowing. So if I haven't done one, because I noticed I hadn't done one for Castle Art's pastel tint pencils. Any Castle Art ones you can ask for. They'll email you the files. You'd have to have a printer. But I've also just noticed we've got 3 stars on this pencil. Now I'm assuming that the star rating is to do with the Lightfastness. It normally is. This one's got 3 as well. Might tell me in the leaflet. It does. There we go. 3 stars is permanent colours. 2 stars is moderately durable colours. 1 star is fugitive colours. And no mark shows not permanent. And that's LF1 and 2. So I'm seeing Lightfast standard. So they've got different Lightfast ratings. For me, that's not a concern, because what I do is kept in a book. Then it doesn't get exposed to lots of light, so it's not going to fade in the sun. But for anyone who's doing artworks that are exposed to sunlight, you know, if you're framing your work, even if it's a colouring piece that you're cutting out of a colouring book, turquoise blue, or you're printing off and framing, then it can be important, because it'd be absolutely devastating if you produce a lovely piece of work and then it fades, you know. So it is worth checking those out. I suspect that most of these are fully Lightfast. I'm just seeing if it says in the leaflet. It does. So yes, so some of these have a 2. The lighter ones have the lower ratings from the looks of me quickly glancing. Yeah, the peach, the apricot is low. The sort of beiges are low. Yeah, it looks like the darker the colour. See, these light pinks here are quite low, and the greys as well. But the whites are good. So it does vary a little bit. They haven't got them on the luminous colours, as they call them. But yes, I'm going to go and finish this off and then come back to you. Right, I have finished swatching all of the pencils, and I'm just going to give you a few of my initial observances. Is that the right word? Observations, that's the word. Now, firstly, I think there is a very good mix of colours. Now, I often find in a pencil set, even if it's got 150, there are things missing. For example, polychromos doesn't have enough pastels tones, and most sets don't. Prismacolors doesn't have very many pinky purples and purples, I don't think. And it has some pastels but not many, and things like that. So there are different problems with different sets. Looking at this set, I felt that actually it was a very good mix, and I'll go through it with you quickly. So you saw the first few rows as I swatched them with you. So we've got the oranges, we've got we've got a nice range of yellows to oranges, and a good range of reds and pinks. Now, yes, there aren't any pale pinks, but these come later. And we've got quite a few nice dark purples, which is something that's quite often missing from sets of pencils. And then with our blues, we've got a sort of really deep blues, grey blues, but we've also got purpley blues, more mid blues, and some moving through to turquoise. And the greens, now there's quite a nice range again of greens. We've got blue greens, and then we've got these sort of more mid greens, and then sort of our lighter ones, but then we go to sort of a few olives here. There's also lots of olive here. My favourite name, olive drab. Lovely. And again, we have some more sort of bottle greens, so sort of more bluey greens, and the order, you know what, you're gonna faint on the floor if you know me well. I think the order is great. I don't want to change it. It's very much like the polychromos order, to be fair. So here we go from our olives to some sort of yellowy ochres, and we move to a few more oranges again, but these are more like our terracottas, sanguines, that sort of colour. This is almost like caput mortuum colour. And then we move to our browns. Now, we don't have a huge amount of browns in this particular brown section here. We've got a lot of nice dark browns. They're great for shadows. But here we have some brown here, but there's more light browns as well. So we've got quite a good mix. Now, we've got our greys. The number 1 greys, the lightest, are quite pale. They barely show up, but actually they're okay. I can see them better now than actually when I was swatching them. And we've got warm greys and cool greys, which is nice. Now, I was quite fascinated to try and work out what the difference between the black and the lamp black was. It's quite difficult to see. I think the lamp black is more like a Payne's grey and the black is more just black, but I'm not sure. But I have to, when I'm swatching it on flat paper, not texture paper, it might be easier, but maybe, and if anyone knows, they can let me know. Now, the soft white was most definitely softer. I could feel it, the softness. It felt as soft as a Prismacolor to me, whereas these feel slightly harder than Prisma, not massively harder, a little bit. Now we have the metallics here. Now if I tip them up, you can see that silver is very shiny. The others not so much so, and that is usually the case with all metallic pencils in my experience. We've got quite a nice range of colours here, and I did notice they were harder than the rest of the pencils, and that is also usually the case with the metallic. They seem to have a hard pigment in there. I think it's to give them the shine. And then the last sort of section, this was the last tray here, so we go down to our more pastel-y shades. You can see that apricot really isn't very pastel-y. It can fit quite well in with our oranges actually, but we've got these nice blush pinks which I like, and other pinks. Again, these are still quite bright, not really pastel in my, I mean they don't say they are, but a little bit different, but you can see how they might mix with some of the darker colours quite nicely. I like this one, it's got the grey tone to it, which is rather nice. We've got, again, and quite a big selection of more blues. So I was telling you about the blues, but these are our more pale blues or sky blues, that sort of thing. And then we move on to green. So this is quite like a, I've always thought this is quite like a light phthalo green. But then we've got our sort of jades and a few other light greens. So it's quite nice, they'll work together with the other greens if you don't want to use them on their own. And here are the light browns I was talking about. So we've got our sand and our beige and a cork here. In between we've got a light sand and this Jaune Brilliant, which are sort of yellowy, but they still work quite nicely with browns. And we've got a peach and a light pink. This ash rose again is a bit like this rose grey in that it's got a bit of grey in there, which I rather like. This one is beautiful. This is a cherry blossom. I think this is one of my favourites, apart from the mustard and the yellow ochre, which I really like. This would be fantastic for doing sakura blossoms, and you could use it together with that to get a bit of shadow. I think it worked really nicely. And we've got another one which is a sort of greyish colour. You can make these colours if you've got a sort of light pink ish or a sort of pinky purple. You can add a bit of grey and get that colour. Smoke blue and a few others, and then we've got a few more greens here and lighter greens. Now lastly we've got these neons. Now neons are a bit of a Marmite colour, love it, hate it type thing. Some sets come with them. Prismas have 3, other sets don't. I don't use them a lot. I will try and use them and play with them, but the thing is that they can just brighten a certain area just a little bit. You don't have to use do a whole luminous red flower, but you can just do a few hints of it, maybe near the top, to make it look like it's catching the light. I think I'm going to play with them like that a little bit. But what I was thinking was that they seem to have a bit of everything, in the sense that a lot of sets, as I said before, are missing things. Like, you know, in Prismas you've only got 3 neons, but here you've got 6. There's a bit more for you to play with, so that you can actually, you could probably use those 6 in a picture just on their own, whereas with only 3 it's rather limiting. Do you see what I mean? And the same with the metallics. You've got 6 there, so you could probably do a whole picture with just those 6 if you wanted, rather than often with metallics, like in Prismas you've got 2, in polys you've got 3, which are pretty rubbish. These are much nicer metallics than polychromos, by the way. I said they were harder, but you can see they show up. They're not thin and scratchy like the polychromos ones are. So you could, you know, you can use them a little bit more usefully, shall I say. And the same with the pastel type tones down here. In your Prismas you've got various ones which are scattered through the set. You could mix these in if you want to. You don't have to keep them in a separate area, but because you've got quite a lot, you can use them as a just do a pastel picture, but you can use them in combine with others as well. So I would say overall a great mix. As I advised before, always try a few open stock before buying a whole set, because expensive pencils are a big investment, and because they come open stock, expensive pencils do, you can have a little play and get your favorite colors. So if you always use greens and you're always running out, buy a green that looks a bit like your favorite green, and then you can use it with instead of that one if you don't buy any more. That's what I would always suggest. With regards to colors that might be a little bit different to any other sets you have, if you've got polychromos, for example, and you want something a bit different, some of these grey ones that I pointed out, sea fog, ash rose or rose grey, they're quite different, or any of the pastels, to be honest, so they might be quite useful. A beige. Beiges are so hard to come by. If you don't have Prismacolors, you probably don't have one, so that might be a useful one to pick up to try as well, just for playing really. And maybe this is pretty, but that's quite similar to, is it the rose pink or the pink in the Prismacolors? It's quite similar to that colour. But I'm going to play with these more, obviously. I will be doing some proper swatch chart for you, my own one, and that will help me to try them out better on a smooth paper that's white, as this is a cream paper. I will also do a few comparison charts. If there's anything you specifically want, whether you've got questions or you want specific charts, then let me know, because I will do my best. Comparison charts do take a long time. It'll probably take me at least a whole day to do one, because there's so many pencils to compare. So as I say, they take a long time, but I'm happy to do them, but just don't expect them really quick. And also, things like this I will leave off probably, because you can't get those colours in, and the metallics, you can't get those colours in other sets very well. I'll probably just leave those blank, because you just can't do it, but we'll see. But my first interest is to compare the Brut Funa Macaron set with these, because even the names are the same for a lot of them, and how similar are they? I'll be doing that one first. I'm just so curious. I might even do it today, but we'll see. But as soon as I've got the swatch charts or comparison charts done, they'll be in my Ko-fi. If you follow me on Ko-fi, you get emailed when I put new things on there, but I also try and promote them on my socials so that you get to see them. But I think that is enough talk for now, so thank you for watching. I hope that was useful. As I say, got any questions, just let me know. I may not know. I'd love to know what sharpener people use with these and what they find to be the best. So if you can help me, that would be great. But other than that, yeah, ask away, and even if I can't help you, other people might be able to. So thank you so much for watching. I'm so excited, and a huge thank you to Claire, who sent me these. I'm just totally overwhelmed. I'm at a loss for words, to be honest. It's just the most generous gift I think I've ever had. So thank you so much. Have a super day, everybody. Have fun. Please like, subscribe and comment away, and happy colouring.